Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Twitch channel. I'm Lorena Creole, and my co-host here, mm, and we are here back again to watch party and review another awesome episode of Reacher. I'm so excited and so thankful all of you who watch the replay of it on YouTube and, over here on Twitch. So, why don't you tell the folks who you are and where they can find you at?
Yes, I am Autumn of Positive Fandom. My YouTube channel is Positive Fandom. You can find me on YouTube, also on Twitch, one word Positive Fandom, where I do reviews and live shows and more. And you can also find me on the Burn Network working with the PGS. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. And of course, I'm Lorena Creole. Of course, you can find me here on Twitch. You can find her here on Twitch as well, under Positive Fandom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, under Positive Fandom, so we're on Twitch as well. Of course, on YouTube, you can find me on my channel. You can also find me on Midnight's Edge over on YouTube. You can also find me on the Dark Council show, and you can also find me on the Babedom Menace as well. So I'm so glad to be here and so excited. So excited about episode 2. Before we get to episode 2, any lingering thoughts about episode 1 before I start the engine here?
Definitely. I mean, we were left kind of with this cliffhanger of the Reacher character just finding out that his brother was killed, murdered practically. It's and in such a horrible way. My heart. I just have so much empathy for him now, and and at the same time, I'm so supportive when he said that he, I guess, more or less was going to find the people responsible and crush them to the ground or something like that. Um,
Mhm.
it's like a normal reaction to finding out that a loved one of yours, who's a good guy, was killed, murdered. I don't know what I would do, but Reacher knows what he has to do. He has to do something to find his brother's killer.
Right, exactly. And I think with the beginnings of the episode and throughout the episode, he seems like he's just impenetrable. Like there's nothing that can really shake him until he finds out that that dead body is his brother, and you can see him going through in his mind just everything to just make it real, but trying not to make it real, everything that identifies that as his brother. And it all folds into that revenge adage, a revenge trope that, somebody took out someone in our family. Guess what? I'm going to go hunt down every single one of them responsible. And it's something that a lot of people can identify with, and like you were saying, have so much, sympathy for what's going on. By the end, just like, yeah, we want him to hunt all of them down. And it's just like, yeah, we're on board. All right, so let's start episode 2 and find out which the first body to hit the floor. So here's where we effectively start the body count on this. So for those of you who are here on Twitch watching with us, if you have Amazon Prime, we are watching episode 2 of the Reacher series titled First Dance. Okay, here we go. For some reason, it didn't start until a minute and 36 in.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
Gotcha.
where we are right now.
Okay.
I love how she is just not afraid of him.
She really isn't. I mean, I think that she is clearly looking like up to this man who is so massive and just telling him that she is a police officer in this town and that he's going to respect the fact that she is a police officer.
Exactly.
Now, this is funny too, Lorena, because a lot of times we see female characters in this position and they don't get it right. Like there's something off about the character, or,
Mhm.
they just don't convey themselves as a police officer. And this is how I see a policewoman. This is the policewomen that I know. They want to get this job done and they have to do it right. They've got to report things correctly, or else it doesn't get, put down in the books right. And then you don't have, the right types of charges on things. So, she's going to make sure stuff is done correctly. And the last thing she wants is for, I don't think she thinks he would, I'm not going to go too far in a prediction, but I think she knows he can take care of himself. But things happen, it seems like, so many things are happening in this town that even she is a little nervous as to what's going on.
Right, and I think he knows deep down that thing again, that operator or military background, a term called situational awareness. She knows things about this town that he does not, and I like the fact that even though she knows his background, she doesn't talk down to him
No, no.
when she speaks to him. She's just like, "You know what? I respect you, but at the same time, you're in my house and these are kind of my rules and I like you, so please don't screw me over by messing this up."
And she has to do that not just to Reacher, but also to Finley because he's from out of town.
Exactly. I love his reaction here. And you notice his voice, how he changes his voice and he treats the kids, you know, he treats the kids as if there's something to be, protected in a way. So I liked that. Every time they say, "Can I use your bathroom?" That's people want to snoop around in your house.
Because they're gonna go into your medicine cabinet, see all your drugs,
Uh-huh.
like, just and they're like, "Oh, that's what you're taking," you know?
Uh-huh. It's like, you have this? What else is in your bathroom?
Mhm. Well, somebody's a Beatles fan, so that was a little homage to the Beatles there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Look at those shoes.
Very fancy. Those are like $1,800 shoes, right?
Yeah, those are the shoes you see in Vogue and in GQ.
Maybe Ferragamo or some kinda Italian
Mhm.
design shoes to me. They look very, very nice.
She's like, "Okay." So they go to the wife's house of the guy who copped to the crime way too early, and now he's like disappeared.
Yeah.
Mhm. No, he was not a nice man.
No.
Mhm. Interesting. Like that's what he picked up.
I would have never found that.
I would never figure that out. I mean, the glasses thing, okay, I can kind of see that part. Although that kind of goes back to CSI, where if there were certain plant matter or whatever, of course they had to wait till they got to the freaking lab to find that out, but he figures it out right here.
Well, the scene is still intact, I guess, so he can just
Just walk right through there, which kind of tells me they didn't do such a good job of cleaning up the crime scene at all. So it's just like how sloppy police work.
Mhm.
True. But you don't beat up a body post mortem unless it really is personal.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely odd behavior.
Yeah. I'd seen from an FBI profiler. She basically says, different crimes, it's like killing somebody and you're gone, but killing someone and desecrating a body, that's a level of personal um, type of rage.
Mhm.
Mm.
That's not the reason, is it? Like, time passed
No,
is not the reason why
no,
he
and
was
and
sleeping
and you
with his
know it
brother.
isn't. And I think for a moment there, he's just like, I trust you, but I don't trust you that much right now. Because it's never just that simple. Time passed. That's the diplomatic. That's the same answer as well. How come you split up and got a divorce? Oh, we just drifted apart. No, that's the polite answer that you give people. It goes way, way deeper than that.
Now, we've all seen this scene before. If not directed towards us, we've all observed this somewhere in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, here we go. This is stereotypical. You got the Hicks coming after, the newcomer.
They're just boys. What are they, like 20, 19, 20-year
Like,
olds?
yeah, 1920. This is the most excitement they probably had in the longest time. And this is when testosterone of youth goes awry and it has to bite you in the ass.
They probably borrowed the car to get there.
Oh, you
Shoot.
know they did. One of them probably said, I need you to record this for YouTube. I love how they did this. The fact that he said four of them there and he's like, I'm about to kick three of y'all asses. There's four of us. One of you has to drive to the hospital.
I love
And
these
he
fight
says, I
scenes.
don't know where the hospital is.
He just smacking them around. Like, it's so good. It's so good. Limping away. Good night.
I know. Okay, 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 okay. I mean, it's kind of like in the same thing in like in the animal world where you have males who are trying to prove their dominance. So, they got to fight it out.
Yeah.
Even if it's not too smart and they pick, the male is
Mhm.
more dominant and they get their asses kicked.
Absolutely.
Thanks to all of you folks hanging with us. We are watching Reacher episode 2.
Mhm.
First dance, I believe. Oh, okay. You know when there's people walking in head to toe clean suits, that is not good.
Yeah, this looks bad. Like,
Like Dexter levels of
yeah.
bad. Oh, I love this. It's so sad, but the fact that he sees
Aw.
this emaciated dog. Is that a sheepdog?
Yeah, it looks like a sheepdog
Yeah.
or a mix, a sheepdog mix of some
Yeah.
kind. A sheepdog and a Dalmatian. I don't
Mhm.
know.
It's so cute.
Come on, you can see he's just giving water to the dog. You didn't feel like doing it. Just go back in the house.
Mhm.
Come on, don't interrupt a good thing. If he wants to stop by every afternoon and fill it up with water, let him stop by every afternoon and fill it up with water.
I love it when he says, "You calling me a liar?" It's like, "Yes." Exactly what I'm calling you. I love
you
that.
you were too lazy to go out and give the water. You now, but you have enough energy to fight with a guy who looks like who can
Mhm.
probably pound you to the ground. Get back in the house, bro.
This is
Just
I
leave it
can't
alone.
I can't stand people who don't take care of their pets. I mean, it's one thing. It's like, "Oh my god, I forgot today." But the dogs, the pet's in pretty good condition.
Yeah, you just say thank you for giving him water. I forgot or some crap like that. But come on,
Mhm.
don't interrupt a good thing.
Exactly.
And she's like, there's been another murder. She's a little annoyed by the fact that there's another murder. Like she's kind of like, there's been another murder. Shh, damn
And
it.
I understand that, especially given that it's like a really small town where
Mhm.
everyone knows, everybody else. And if you're talking like murders per capita, if there's like 5,000 people who live in town and you got 2, 3 foot bodies like that piling up, it really freaks everybody. You know, in that triple breasted suit.
Just feels like he's a professor or, at a university
Yeah,
or
that he's
something.
not that he's not a cop.
Yeah.
And when he's talking about keep people away from the crime scene, how bad is it that he has to tell another cop, I guess, to potentially keep the other cops away from the scene?
I somehow think Finley has seen stuff like this, but I don't think the other guys have seen stuff like this.
True.
Maybe Reacher's seen something like this, but they're the only two who have ever seen anything like this.
I agree. And I think Finley's very disturbed that something like that has come to, this small town that he's been sworn to protect. And you got some cartel like stuff going on. Wow.
Oh my God, it's horrific. To be honest with you, Lorena, I've never seen anything like that. Like I've seen a lot of movies, but this is incredibly horrific.
If you've I've seen it in like usually they have to deal with drug cartels. Um a similar scene, cuz have you seen the movie New Jack City?
Yeah, I have.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, like the scene where he's just like where they have him and like his throat's cut, he's got a bomb strapped to him. That's like those types of murders, they do it and they pose the body to make like a statement, kind of like back in the day cutting somebody's head off and putting it on a pike. It's very graphic and it's very horrific. And it's one of those things where they actually have to show the amount of brutality to this, or else it doesn't, or else it feels fake.
Right. Right. Well, they did a good job on this one.
They did. I did not expect to see that. I knew it was going to be
No.
bad. I've seen some effed up stuff, but I'm just like, man, oof.
And so this is what the gentleman from in the prison said that they would do to him, right, Lorena, in
Mm-hmm.
episode 1. was that, honestly, we hear people saying, I'm going to get nailed to the wall all the time, but we don't always see stuff like that.
No, not like literally get nailed to the wall. And like I had said with the previous episode, I was so focused on the fact that they were like tracking Reacher and he's looking, across the yard, seeing who the heck it is, that I didn't even hear dude say, yeah, they're gonna nail my balls to the wall and feed them to me, or nail me to the wall and feed my balls to me.
Well, honestly, it sounds like something kids might say in a playground to just, like psych out somebody. It's like, we're going to get you, kid. And the kid is like,
Mm-hmm.
no, they said they're going to do something to me. Like they don't mean it, but this one actually happened. Man.
Wow.
Now we learned that because of these murders, I guess one of the town administrators has appointed himself chief of police.
Yes.
Well, that's not good.
Just didn't ask somebody. Didn't well, I mean, I don't know what the contingency is that if, the chief of police got whacked. I guess if
Right.
it wasn't a small town, there'd be more of a procedure, but I guess for a small town like this to have it happen this way.
Right. I guess it'd be like an appointed process now, and
Yeah,
they just
but
appoint,
it's
they
pretty
have to have
obvious. Oh, sorry, go
somebody.
ahead.
No, I apologize. They
Okay.
have to have somebody, be in charge,
And I think how fast this guy appointed himself as chief of police lets you know there's something dirty. He didn't wait. He didn't, have a meeting or anything like that.
Normally there would be an emergency private meeting, like with between officials and law
Exactly.
enforcement, and perhaps
Exactly. And a
maybe the
press and
hospital
a yeah,
administrators or
and a
press.
press
Yeah,
con.
yeah, something like that. But there certainly wouldn't be a town meeting. Like
Mhm.
that might be later on in the evening.
It's like we got to get our story straight.
Yeah. Now she looks incredibly nervous.
Very.
Hmm.
Oh, he says, I need your car. Augusta, nice golf course.
Mm-hmm. Now that's where the U.S. Open, with the Green Jackets, is the Green Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who went to school in Augusta. I can't remember the name of the school though, but she went to school in Augusta.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, what was it called? Payne University.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one before.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the town meeting. Oh, Lord.
Wow, that is ballsy.
Oh, the town charter says that? Really? Okay. Why does he
Good.
remind me of Colonel Sanders? Like a modern day Colonel Sanders.
I'm glad somebody called him out for like, what do you know about being a police officer? And then we got this Yankee cop. What the hell's happening to Margrave?
Mm-hmm. And
Animal? She just called him an animal. She called Reacher an animal. Damn.
a lot of it is fear of outsiders, especially with these small towns. Everybody's very protective of each other. So the fact that he sticks out and they arrested him for murder, even though they let him go, he's still suspect. And I didn't trust this dude as soon as he started talking.
What does this have to do with his industry and the town being run down? This has nothing to do with that.
Nothing. But the fact that he makes it about that, that's where I'm just like, okay, yeah, something's up with this guy. He's too smooth.
I don't think that you're permitted to do this, to provide money to the police officers to hunt down a killer. I don't think you'd have to like have a nonprofit to do it or something like that, or but I don't even think that's allowed. I think they can offer a reward, but you can't pay cops in a town like that. Like you can't do that.
No, that's like a bribe. But he probably is so arrogant to think that he can do that, considering that he literally like owns the town, and they don't want him to
Definitely.
pull, this guy to pull out his money and his investments. So they probably let him say whatever the heck he does. Because you notice the new police chief, his demeanor changed completely when he got in there to talk.
You know something's up.
Okay,
It's
so
not really. Go
why
ahead.
are you going to cut off an avenue of investigation unless there's a reason?
Yeah.
Rule number 1, everybody's a suspect unless they're ruled out.
He does not like Finley at all.
No. Mm, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Follow the money.
Hmm. Yeah, because nobody throws out money like that just for the hell of it.
Oh no. Oh no. One of my favorite lines is from the movie Rush Hour, where Chris Tucker says, "You know what you do? He said, follow the rich white man." He said, "That's what you're gonna have to do." I freaking love that movie.
I love it too. I haven't seen it in a while. Okay, so he knows somebody in the FBI who's going to help, uh, I guess, protect the woman and her kids.
Mm-hmm. Did he tell you why you shouldn't take the Margrave job?
I've had friends who've gone ahead and done stuff like that. Someone advises them not to do it, and they take it, and then they regret it. So, guys, listen to those recommendations. They mean
Yeah.
something.
His brother got murdered in this town, and you think he's just gonna roll out?
Hell no. Margrave's such a nice town. Oh, goodness.
What we got? Mm, really?
A clue. Watch your back, Mr. Reacher.
Mm-hmm. Preacher.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He wants him to come back and so he can give him a shave. I think my
Exactly. I
bottom line,
need
that's all
you
I care about.
alive to bring me back some more money.
Mm-mm. Vengeance, justice, the whole nine, whatever. It
All of
all.
it. Like I'm all here for it. In the past tense. Yep.
That might have been a little faux pas. He didn't have to say that in front of the woman.
Yeah. I think he's right, but in the same time, he's used to that no nonsense. I'm just going to get all of this out and be completely straight with you, but forgets he can be a little too straight. And that's why she's giving him the eye right now. She just can't just come out and freaking say that.
And I think if he's accustomed to dealing with people in the military, like you don't have to worry about that. You can just say how things are and then just go on with the day. And,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
there is no kind of, that kind of consideration, I guess, or
Mm-hmm.
focus on that.
Right. Hey, Dad Man Walking. I see you there in the chat. Says, hey, I got in this week. Had to be the building. LOL. Hi there. Yeah, sometimes a building can do that. This was so heartbreaking.
We all see bullying and, it's very hard to know what to do, especially as a child. It's like, and there's a lot of pushback in regards to not just bullying, but also standing up for yourself. There's pushback on both sides these days.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to defend yourself. Sometimes you really have to do something. And I think that this is really important because, what if this kid got hurt? This is something to think about. Kids have accidents and all sorts of things when they're doing things that they're not supposed to. And that kid wouldn't be there doing that if he would never be in that abandoned warehouse or
that abandoned greenhouse with its glass and all that stuff around. And
it's not safe
the
for a
way
child.
that they're just like picking on this one boy who obviously, has special needs. The fact to be able to call that out, basically see, they haven't called it out yet, but to basically see it and know that there's something wrong and to get angry at seeing how somebody who's not as strong is just being, used like that and abused like that. Yeah, Dad Man Walking, this show sucks you in.
It really does.
Good way.
It really does.
I love how she protects the kids and he goes after them with the gun. I freaking love that.
I'm surprised he was able to pull it out of her holster like that. Like,
I know.
You get that from a police officer. They're very kind of the way that they stand. It's hard to reach for something like that on, in cases like that. But he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, we also got to remember it's like he's an operator at the same time.
I have to remember that, Lorena, because I'm not thinking that way, and I'm like, those guys can do crazy stuff, like unbelievable stuff. So
that's why it's so like crazy when some purple steal like a cop's gun. It's like, come on, really?
And I think Dad Man Walking 55 says it's about time a show did that. I agree.
100%.
It's all about how you ask.
All about how you ask. We're just like, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. He's so good.
He's driving a Jaguar. Jaguar.
Well, he's clearly knows certain things to say to get people to talk to him, and that's like 90% of the battle here, because he's got to do these interrogations to get people to fess up, or at least to give him information. It's not easy to get
Mhm.
people to do that, and
Mhm.
considering who he interrogates, as you said, other operators, he
Right.
really knows what he's doing.
Because you have to know the right, like you're saying, you need to know the right way to ask the questions.
Exactly.
And that kind of, and it sounds all about like manipulate people into giving you what it is that you need.
Now, because he's an operator, he's expecting stuff like this. Now, this is something that I did not expect, because I'm watching it. I'm like, oh my God, but he's expecting stuff like this. So,
Yeah, I did because I'm listening to him while he's talking. It's just like you're in a small town, a southern small town. You call this guy and you don't have an accent. So I'm like, something's going down when he gets there. Yeah. He should be breaking it down.
no, I don't know what he said.
He
Bam.
who hesitates gets their ass kicked. See,
I don't know. These fight scenes are so satisfying. It just feels like we haven't seen anything like this in so long, Lorena. Like these.
I know. It reminds me of, I know it's an old reference, but it reminds me of like Lethal Weapon when Mel Gibson gets in all those fights.
Oh, I love these
It's
kicks and
just
these
pure
slaps.
justified vengeance.
It's just so good.
Like he didn't ask for that.
No.
Yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
No. Okay, it looks like we might have a oh, so he's back at the precinct. It didn't go as planned.
He cried.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
Thank you
yeah, I
so
remember
much for
this.
this scene.
I know. You know what we like.
Yep. I don't know if we can see abs, but I can certainly see something.
He's got a very nice back, and I would like to be the person patching that up. And if
Definitely.
you're not picturing yourself as Roscoe patching him up or you getting patched up, there's something wrong with you. I'm just saying.
Now she said she's using crazy glue. I didn't know you could use crazy glue to patch up things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Because
I'm
it will just because the way crazy glue works, it's like a fast bonding, agent, so it can seal up cuts.
yeah.
Might sting a little bit, but it does work fast.
Well, I got to say, this is one of the best scenes so far. The fight, and then the shirtless scene where she gets to repair his back. It's
Oh yeah.
absolutely spectacular.
I freaking love this. And
I
they're
just
not rushing through this either. That's what I like too.
yeah. I'd be like, no, 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 stay there. We're still working.
Yeah, go, 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 go. Let's see the other. Yeah, the like back, but that's nice too.
Wow, we did see. I think we did see a little bit of six pack. I think
Yeah,
we
we
did.
did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Mm, mm, mm. Goodness gracious. Well, they kind of formed a really nice unit, the three of them.
Hmm. Didn't seem too likely in the beginning, but they had the circumstances evolve to, interestingly enough, they know they can only trust each other and no one else.
Oh,
And it doesn't feel forced either,
right.
you know?
No, it doesn't. It's really balanced so well. This is excellent writing. And obviously it's adapted from Lee Child's book, so it's not a surprise that it's a
Hmm.
quality story.
I'm freaking loving this. Hey, BK Panther
Hey,
says, "Oh, there's more later for your eyes to feast on." For both sides, LOL. Oh,
I
see that
love
I
it.
like that kind of equality, you
Yes,
know.
that's what we want.
Exactly, exactly. Well, folks, just to let you folks know, at home, let's see. We are at where are we? We are 3810. Yeah,
Okay.
38. I swear this is going way faster.
I know, we're almost through the episode. If it, right now, Finley's like, okay, things are not exactly going my way, but I'm still going to try and maintain this as a professional investigation, and I want you to
Hmm.
follow Reacher. And I think he's
Yeah.
right. I think, you know, it doesn't hurt for him to have somebody, following him,
Hmm.
just to kind of like, if something does happen. I mean, I, I,
Yeah.
I don't want anything to happen to him, but
If
you
something
know,
goes
there's
down.
there's a lot of cultural things too that Reacher doesn't know in this area, and I think she knows a lot of those things. So
Exactly. But you gonna have to behave. Cause you asked me. Cause you asked me.
hmm
Yeah, we need to get you a t-shirt with a little less blood on it.
hmm
BK Panther says this series was what I grew up on. It's very entertaining.
Oh. Oh, okay.
It really is. I just love how it sucks you in. I love how great the writing is and how slow the mystery starts to evolve. And if you love mysteries, this is great.
And she let her hair down.
Ah,
She's got
and
her
she's what?
hair down. She's like,
Yep.
I got to get into something a little more comfortable.
After work. Oh, I freaking love this. It's not a twist off. I freaking love this scene. I saw that in a pilot and I'm like, oh my God, I have to see that.
Yeah.
I have to see that. And
hmm
if you can twist the cap off a beer bottle with your bicep, you deserve a handmade sandwich right then and there.
Agreed. A handmade hot sandwich.
Yes.
A hot
Yes.
sandwich.
Hot
Pickles,
sandwich. Melted
pickles and chips on the side, maybe a beer.
melted cheese, custom spread,
uh-huh.
all of that. Oh yeah.
Oh, I like her style. I like her style. She's like, damn this, if I'm coming to this roadhouse with this man and not going to get me a dance out of this.
Exactly. Shoot.
Ladies, take note.
You can't walk in with that kind of eye candy
Hell no.
and, not just let them sit there. No, no,
Come
no, no,
on.
no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And very well done. I have to say, very subtle, very tactful. She's a smooth operator.
Very, very. BK Panther says, I like the chemistry of the characters. They have a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's certainly
So
chemistry. A little bit of everything. Yeah, it is a very nice balance. He's
it is. It's not like overpowering. And even if it does get out of balance a little bit, things happen to kind of bring it back together.
yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm in my happy place right now.
Yes.
I have no idea what's going on because I'm enjoying this right here."
Investigation? What investigation?
What investigation?
Oh, but he does also, this is the other thing too. Men need love too. So, I think it's important to
Absolutely.
show, that he has a caring side and, you know,
Absolutely. That was sweet though.
that
How
was
he
very
tried to
sweet.
offer her his jacket. I thought that was sweet.
So sweet.
That's how you
So
tell his
sweet.
mama raised him right. Even though she's like, "I don't need your
Absolutely.
jacket." But she didn't say it in a snotty way either. She's like, "I don't need your jacket." That was smooth. I like that too.
It was very respectful. Now, this
Mhm.
is true. Like what happens here, this is very, very true. I mean, first of all, and I don't think it's unfair to say, and we certainly are not making commentary on whether you should have guns in your car. That's your choice. Like, this is not about that. But there are a lot of people who do have guns in the glove compartment, or even like in the back area of their car. Like if you go to the back seat, you can reach back
Oh yeah.
and have guns. So this is not unusual for her to have a gun in her glove compartment. This is an international show that's going to be watched throughout the world. It's not so unusual. It doesn't mean anything. It's just there. That's her.
No,
That's her firearm.
it's just defense. If you have
Mhm.
a depends on where you live, because in
Yes.
Georgia you can have a
Yes.
firearm in your glove compartment. Other
Hmm.
states you can't unless you have a concealed carry
Right.
license, which
And
I
she
do have.
probably has both of those because she
Yes,
is
because
a
she's a
police
police.
officer.
Exactly.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. What was I talking about? What was I
Oh my
talking
God.
about?
So apparently there's a storm and it's blocked off the roads and they have to stay
Oh,
in
okay.
Alabama for the night and they're in a hotel and
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
oh, so we raided the vending machine.
And BK Panther, she is gorgeous. Her hair is so thick. Do you see it? Like when she takes it's like a wall of hair, even though she's like in a bob style. I love that
Mhm.
style. She looks wonderful. I'm so glad they picked an attractive woman for
I am
this role.
too. Because she's pretty, her hair is down. And you're right, BK Panther. Yeah, this is the right way to write a strong woman. Roscoe is hot. She's
Hmm.
strong enough to realize where her strengths are. When she wants something from him, she will turn on the charm to get something from him and knows that's what she has to do. And she's not disrespectful about it either. It's just like,
Now,
okay,
I got to be honest with you, Lorena. I've been in this position. Obviously, I've never been investigating a murder or anything like that. When I say I've been in this position, I mean I've been with friends, and like we're all over someone's house, and some of us sleeping in the living room, and some of us are in like the dining room because there's so many of us there, and
yeah.
you are sleeping on the floor sometimes with sleeping bags and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, some of this, like the camera angles of Alan Richson in this scene are just absolutely incredible. um yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is low lighting. It's not always easy to get that look of a person in low lighting.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really unbelievable. And the amount of respect that the characters have for one another right now shows like they're very professional right now. They're not thinking about what we're thinking about as observers. They're like, we got
No.
to get some sleep because tomorrow could be really rough. That's what they're thinking. They're actually preparing themselves for another rough day because they've been getting these rough days and rough things that are happening.
Exactly.
But for us who are watching, we have a little different reaction. But there's this one, oh God.
Yeah, it's like we have something completely different that we're thinking of. And BK Panther, you're exactly right. He was a complete gentleman. He said, I
Yes.
could have sworn something was going to happen that night. Yeah, because it's just like,
Is this
how
shot
it,
coming out
yeah, it's just like, okay,
where they're
what's going to happen? Is he going to be like, okay, as much as I really would like to tap that, I really can't do that right now.
yeah, yeah.
That's
He's
not not really the best thing, that I really
And I
should be
think
doing
most
right
men
now.
would be that way, honestly, Lauren. Yeah, that's how I see men today. They're just not going to do that. It's most men will hold off on this, and and I've even seen women say, "No, I want to do that." They're like, "No, no, no, it's not time." And it's like, okay, like guys know what it's about, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. Most of them do. So,
Yeah, it's like you can't really it's like they're not all like, "Hey, we're in the same motel room. Hey, let's hit it." It's like, no, they're not all, that way.
mhm. It's almost like a sleepover. It's almost like an adult
It
sleepover.
is. It is. It's like, let's just watch movies until we all fall asleep on the floor."
Nighty night,
I
nighty night,
love this.
nighty night. It's this one shot where he's kind of like that one. It's like
Yeah.
I can't even. No words. No words.
I
I
love the
just.
tension that they left it like that. Like, "Night, Roscoe," and she's like, "Night, Reacher."
Oh
I
God.
love how that was shot. Holy crap. Mm,
Yeah, it really was well done. It's
yeah.
see, this is what we're talking about, and this is the type of stuff that is
Mhm.
really wonderful to watch on the screen. It's magical.
Absolutely. Dead Man Walking says, "Really hard to believe that they wrote it that way, though." Mm.
Mm, yeah.
I wonder if that scene was in the book.
I don't remember. I have to go back and listen to it.
See, there you go. Gun in the car.
Hmm.
Gun in the car. Semi-automatic. There you go. You always check.
That's right.
Always check chamber.
Look, she wanted to enter the place first with the gun.
Mhm.
I mean, she is the cop in
'Cause
town,
that is
so
yeah, 'cause that is her house. Wow.
now they're coming after her essentially. And I'm
Mhm.
guessing, do you think it was those guys in those Tyvek suits again?
Could have been.
Or maybe I guess there's a few people that it could have been, but so far that's what we've seen are guys walking in Tyvek suits going to
Mhm.
police officers' home, the chief of police.
Everybody connected.
Hmm.
Whoa. Yeah. He's like, "I'm really gonna need a gun."
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I kind of like hate that it ended at that part, but
Yeah, it's just
you
like, "Oh, man." But you're kinda
you
yelling
really
like,
want to
"Yeah."
see more, don't you? I mean, like this is it's so intriguing and it's really disturbing. You know what I'm thinking, and I'm sure everybody is thinking this, is that if those roads hadn't washed out, she might be dead right now.
Absolutely. She'll be dead. He would in a way, he would really feel extremely guilty for having that happen because it's very obvious, one, that, he's very protective towards her, and two, it's something different. He actually does have a romantic attachment to her that's starting to form, so obviously that would kind of rattle him for the most part.
Yeah. And, I think that what another thing that's kind of happening is that we know they've kind of formed this informal, formal team. But another thing
Right.
that's happening is that while they're becoming a closer, let's say 3-person unit, Finley is losing a lot of his administrative power. And it's not going to be easy. Right now she's the only one who kind of has this administrative power. And,
Mhm.
to be honest with you, that's going to limit a lot of what they can do. And even she now is under attack. So, you have to wonder going forward, if these guys are willing to kill the chief of police, they're willing to break into her place. Somebody has removed Finley's ability to be in charge at the station. It's like, how are they going to handle all this stuff?
Mhm.
This is really a frightening situation to be in. And honestly, I don't know. I know I couldn't handle it. I know I couldn't handle it, just just thinking about it, it's absolutely terrifying. And this is called the first dance. This is their first step in, let's say, trying to intimidate, at least, if not, yeah, maybe Finley is getting intimidated, but she certainly should feel intimidated now because someone broke into her home. This is your house and you're a cop and everybody knows you're a cop. It's not sort of like some kind of random break in. They went to her house on purpose with an intent to get her. And
Mhm.
we've already seen what they did to the other cops. So there's no reason to think that they weren't going to do something equally vile to her. And it's really terrifying, how this could have ended up. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's why, when he says, "I'm really gonna need a gun," it's like the gravity of it, as you were saying. That's why it's like it makes not only does it make sense when he says that, but we as the audience are literally yelling, yeah, he needs a gun. Some people are probably like, yeah, he needs like 2 or 3, because of just the seriousness of how it's just how it's ratcheted up. Because when we started this episode, it was okay, I need to find out, who killed my brother. But then the body count starts going up. I mean, you don't just, not to say that one life is less more than another, because it isn't. But in the grand scheme of things in a town, if, like, say, there's a difference between the town drunk getting run over by a car and the chief of police basically being killed in such a graphic and grotesque manner. It's not like, his throat was cut and he was thrown down the stairs. It's not that, like, even say he was in his car and his car blew up and there was like a car bomb in it. No, this guy was literally crucified on his wall, his balls cut off, shoved into his, to his stomach pretty much. That's to send a very, very clear message from a group of people that you do not want to mess with.
And you already stated this already, Lorena, that they don't see this in Margrave. Like, this is very unusual to see a killing like this in Margrave. And it's not just, yes, it is true that the chief was nailed to the wall, but we also saw a woman in there. I'm guessing that might be his wife or girlfriend or whatever. And she
Mhm.
was in very bad shape too. Like, she was cut up badly.
That looked
And
like they bled her out.
yeah, it was a horrible death she suffered, and it really isn't anything that anybody wants to see, or experience. I mean, it's a nightmare, and it's very hard to, see people be killed this way. But it was meant to send a message. It wasn't just trying to get them out of the way. It was, definitely something that was meant to send a message. In addition to, this is what's going to happen to you. But the real question is, what the hell is going on in Margrave? I mean, like, what is going on? And I think that even at that scene, and that poor medical examiner, this incredibly green virgin medical examiner who's like,
Very, like, oh my gosh, I'm only used to dealing with, like, old people who die at home, or, people who die from alcohol poisoning, kind of just like benign stuff.
yeah. This is maybe the most incredible thing he's seen in his entire life. And, he can't even believe it. But I think it's also interesting that the denial of people in the town to realize that something bigger is happening here. Not everybody knows the details of that murder.
Mhm.
But I'm sure the man who appointed himself now the chief knows all the details of the murder. And, he's kind of like treating it like it's just some ordinary guy who used to, who we have records on, some guy who probably like robbed the local liquor store, or held up the local Circle K is their prime suspect for nailing some guy to the wall and cutting off his balls and feeding it to him. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think this was the Circle K robber or those kids, the drunk kids, I don't think it was them. I don't think it's them. I think it's got to be someone else. I also loved how the barbershop guy who sees Reacher and he's like, "You in here for vengeance, justice?" And he's like, "I'm here for it all." And it's like, okay, but just, I think you might need another shave, so make sure you come back now. Like, you go ahead and take care of what you got to take care of, but you're going to need another shave. So, you should probably come back here to make yourself sure you make yourself look respectable, as you're kind of like laying down the law in this town.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, about the barber. It's like for him, he's very pragmatic, and very practical. And I think that's because when you think of professions like a barber or um like a beautician, they interact with a lot of people, and they're used to talking and listening and observing. So he pretty much knows, like, a guy like Reacher, if he's got something he's got to do, he's not going to rest until he's done. But at the same time, I need you to bring me some more business, so come back after you finish killing people. It's very it's like, I love the dark humor that runs through this, and that is part of it. It's almost like when you see an episode, I forget where it is that I saw, and these people, like, went up in flames, like, these bad guys were, like, burned beyond all recognition, and one of the cops is like, "I'm in the mood for barbecue for lunch today." Just like, it's like you get it. It's just like, now, okay, yeah, all right, that was kind of funny.
Mhm, mhm. It's the exact same thing. I also was kind of impressed that Reacher wanted to go off and question somebody, and we kind of spoke about this about him going off on his own to question someone. He doesn't have authority in the town to do anything like this, but he tried to kind of speak to that guard that put the other gentleman and him in Gen Pop, and he figures, let
Mhm.
me talk to him because obviously he was told to do that on purpose, to
Right.
cause them to be, pretty much get killed or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And, he tries to trick the guy, and the guy thinks he's got one up on Reacher. Ha ha ha. He thinks he can get one over Reacher. Um, and it's kind of weird because they know all of Reacher's history. In other words, when he ends up in the prison, let's say even if it's temporary, they have his records, right, Lorena?
They have all of his records, so they know exactly who he is, and if they're smart enough, would know what he was capable of.
Did you not read his prosecutions and running with people like on his back, saving them? Like, do you realize who you're dealing with here? You're like, don't touch this guy.
It's like, I don't think that they do, and it's almost like a unicorn. Like, I don't believe the unicorn exists. And I think it's like they don't want to acknowledge that this type of guy, exists. Not only exists, but he's, in our town, running around. But you would think, and it kind of goes back to, it's like, is it that they're covering, or is it that they're that incompetent? So, the new
Mhm.
chief of police, who I will call Colonel Sanders from now on, because that's what he reminds me of, even with the cane, that he's got with him. It's just like, if you're a cop, how can you cut off avenues of investigation?
Mhm.
It doesn't. None of that makes sense, at all. What's kind of told me, he's got something going on. And when he allows Mr. Kleiner to come in, because you notice his demeanor changes. He's his hostility is somewhat restrained when dealing with the people in the town, asking him very pointed questions, because they're scared of Leah, like you'd said earlier. These people in this town are very scared. There hasn't been a murder, like one guy said, there hasn't been a murder here in 20 years. So the peace and the security that I'm used to in this town is no longer here. Not only is it no longer here, but it's getting worse. Because the other lady stands up and she's like, "Do we have a serial killer or not?" And the chief of police kind of seems indignant, like, "What do you mean? You got a serial killer? Who are you?" He has that like antagonism. It's kind of like when public officials really want to curse out the public, but they know that they can't, so they get
Yeah.
very testy. But then Kleiner just says, "Oh, we should, Mr. Reacher, he lost his brother." And the way that he's talking, and Colonel Sanders just kind of just like sits there and lets him talk. It's like something is up with this as soon as he starts doing that. Because how do you let this guy, Mr. Kleiner, who's as much of an outsider as Reacher, but without the money and without, you know, the big, huge, frame and the attitude of you cannot control me, but he's just allowed to speak and everyone's like, yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, you make a good point, and I didn't like, we did mention this, but I really didn't care for the fact that he took a time when the city's at a state of crisis to promote himself. I'm like, that's kind of a dick move. Why would he do that?
Yeah, it is.
What they really want to hear is, don't worry, we're going to try and solve the crime. We're going to get to the bottom of this. That's what the people
Mhm.
want to hear. They don't want to hear how great you've done all this stuff. Like, that doesn't mean anything to anybody. So now the last thought in their mind is that he's going to be throwing a ton of money at the police precinct, but it's not really a comforting feeling. And it's also him telling them this, I'm the one who's kind of in control here.
Mhm.
I got up here and I was able to kind of subvert your current chief of police by promoting myself when everybody's here to talk about a murder. Very, very suspicious. And the Dead Man Walking 55 talks about the woman who plays Roscoe. Her name is Willa Fitzgerald, and she's a wonderful actress. She really makes this role come alive as the police officer. And I loved it, Lorena, when Finley had said, I want you to go with him because he comes back to the precinct all injured, that repair job.
Mhm.
Now I know, crazy glue. I know this now.
Yeah.
Um, and she's got to kind of, clean the wound and do whatever she's got to do. And, he's not the kind of guy who's going to wince or anything like that. It's like, cut it out. He'd hand you the knife, cut out whatever it is.
Yeah, like, I'm used to digging shrapnel out, whatever. It's just like, do your worst.
So he's not going to complain or anything like that. He'll sit still. She knows she can kind of do whatever she has to do. But Finley knows he could have gotten killed. And he's like, you've got to go with him. And she's like, what? Why do I mean, like, I'm kind of realizing now that he feels he still has to be somewhat responsible for, this man's actions. He hasn't been appointed as an investigator. He hasn't gotten a star, like one of those stars or whatever they do in that town, but
Mhm.
he still feels kind of responsible for Reacher. And he's like, this guy got sliced or stabbed or whatever you call it, shivved. I don't know
Yeah.
what it's called on his watch. And he's like, you got to go with him. You got to watch him and make sure, if he does end up dead, at least we'll know what the hell, happened. But it is a little scary that, he even feels Reacher is in incredible danger. Of course, Reacher's brother was killed. So there's no reason to believe that Reacher is safe and that he can fully protect himself. Technically speaking, I mean, it is something to think about.
Exactly. That's great analysis. I like that.
Thank you. Now, BK Panther is asking us about Yellowstone, and it's not really like this, but it has strong male and female characters. Oh,
Oh, I have heard good things about Yellowstone. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but everything that I've heard about it has been very positive.
yeah, yeah. I've heard it's fantastic. Does it star the guy from Kevin Costner? Is he
Let
in it?
me, I think he is. I'm actually looking it up right now on IMDb. Yep, Kevin Costner is in it. Oh, Cole Hauser is in it too?
Hmm.
I may have to check that out. I like Cole Hauser. I
Thank you
do
for the
like Cole.
recommendation, BK
Yes,
Panther. We
thank you very
appreciate it.
much. Let's see. Okay, so starting in 2018,
Hmm.
you can, okay, I will have to put that on my list. I have to watch Justified first
Oh
because
yes, with
Timothy
Timothy.
Olyphant is in that. I think I saw a couple episodes and then I dropped out because I just didn't have time. But I
Mhm.
loved what I watched in Justified. That's why I was so stoked when he showed up in in The Mandalorian as Cobb Vanth,
And
Timothy
from what I
Olyphant.
understand, Lorena, Justified is coming back.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
catch up on
Yes.
that. So
Another,
gonna have to catch up on that.
I was going to ask you, and we talked about, and I felt like I had to mention that, like in regards to where they live in Margrave, people do have guns like that, in their
Mhm,
glove compartments. She's a police officer, so of course she's going to have one, but even ordinary people have that. And so, it's like kind of a different approach. You kind of need it. I think that when they were approaching that roadblock, Reacher
mhm,
didn't know what to think. Um, and that's something to consider as well. So many odd things have been happening in the town.
mhm,
You don't know who's at that roadblock. Like it could have been a precarious situation. So it was this. I think it might have been either the first time or the second time where he reaches for a weapon and kind of like is thinking, because I instinctively wouldn't do that. Even if it was mine, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I had it in my glove compartment. I forgot."
mhm,
That would be my answer. Like, how come you have? I'm like, I forgot. And they're like, no one's ever said that before, that they forgot that they had. I'm like, you don't understand. I don't have a car. I don't normally have a car. Now this car with this, like I wouldn't know what to say. But for him, it's instinctive to grab for that if he sees something that's unusual, and he did the right thing. I mean, just in
mhm.
case that was, fortunately, it was not a bad, it was not a thing. But when I think about it going back, that they were at her home that night, that is terrifying. And I think they would have killed her. I don't think she would have made it. She wouldn't have been expecting it.
No, no, especially if it's especially given how we saw the police chief, there was, his murder scene. It's like if, like you said earlier, if they did that to him, what were they gonna do, you know, to her? So it would have really, really, really gone sideways and not that not that great. So
No,
would not have gone well
no.
at all. But also getting back to like having a firearm, it's like that's like a rural thing because you
Yes.
don't know. It's like you don't know if you're out. It could be, it could be like a bear, it could be somebody
Yes.
else. You never know. So people are used to driving around with like a firearm in the glove compartment. I know you can in the state of Georgia. They're talking about Georgia. Laws vary, but
Right.
that's something that's kind of accepted. And even if you are someone who has one in there, like you were saying, that's not really your first instinct is to reach
No.
there. But because of Reacher's military training and operator training, the first thing he's doing is like, where's a firearm so I can protect myself.
And Lorena, I don't know if this is true or not, like in the order of sequences of the scenes, but I don't know whether we actually see her put it in the glove compartment. I think that he just knew there was one there, just out of experience, and was like, let me check. Okay, I'm ready to go. I
I
think,
would have to agree, especially considering that she's a cop.
yeah,
She's a
yeah.
cop, and just people in general, if they're gonna keep a firearm in their car, again, in the state of Georgia, uh, that's where you would put one. It's and not only that, but it's like how many I can't tell like how many movies or TV shows I've seen where that's the first thing they do is they look in the glove compartment
Right.
to like see if you have a firearm. Even some traffic stops, if you watch like cops, so you got any weapons in the car, anything in glove compartment, that's number one what they'll look for.
Well, BK Panther says, I think she went into the glove box for the pistol earlier. Okay, thank you for
She
mentioning
did?
that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I noticeably distracted for various
Yes.
reasons.
Well, obviously, because Dad Man Walking 55 says, were y'all talking about the dude without his shirt off earlier? Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
we were.
Yeah.
There were quite a few scenes with his shirt off earlier. There's the scene where they are in the motel and he has
Mhm.
his shirt off, and then the scene where she has to repair the slash mark on his back.
Yeah.
So there's a few scenes where he is like that. And
Hmm.
yeah. So yes, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah.
I think every episode we're gonna have that shirt off discussion.
Well, something, I
That's the
think that
feeling.
the appeal of this person, like, and I also do want to say, and I said it in the previous show that we had, the watch party, is that he has a lot of charisma. Like, he's charming. He's not just sort of like, a one show kind of guy. He's intelligent, he's good looking, he's charming. He's kind of like the full package in a way, if you look at it from that point of view. A gentleman, protective. He's got so much going for him that I think, he's kind of a stellar character. Thank you, Lee Child. Thank you so much for creating the Reacher character for us. And I think he also has a certain bravado that appeals to men, in that way. And I love these action scenes that we've been getting. We saw him
Oh,
fighting those
they're
two
so good.
gentlemen. I guess I don't know where they're from, but they seem to challenge him a little bit. And they must have had some skills or training.
Yeah.
Perhaps the operators, like what you were talking about, Lorena, maybe they are former operators,
Hmm.
and they have that ability to fight back. And you see, it was challenging for him. It wasn't super easy, but he managed to get away. And I think he would have continued if, I guess, if the police hadn't shown up at that moment.
Yeah.
Um, so even Reacher, is not 100% unstoppable in a sense, or doesn't have challenges himself.
Hmm.
And of course, the this, I'm not going to call it a silly fight, but the three boys who went up to him, four boys who went up to him drunk, and they're like, yeah, you're the Reacher guy, and you just knew it was. You just knew this was going to be, a night in the emergency room for these kids.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
of course, they'll tell the emergency room guys that they fell off their bike or something.
Exactly. Phil. Or yeah, I rolled down the hill, I had too much to drink and, or did some kind of lame excuse because to actually admit what happened, not going to go over well. They would get clowned for I don't know how long. Probably like forever. They would never be able to live that down. But to get back to Reacher's character, I think that's very important that you point out that having him come across these two guys who are obviously, well, to me, when I say they've obviously got martial arts experience, close combat, hand-to-hand combat experience. They're like not exactly on Reacher's level, but they're enough of a threat that throws him off balance. And you can see, he had to kind of struggle a little bit. So he's not completely infallible, which we do actually like to see because we don't like characters that are 100% perfect, and he can't be impervious because he's a human. He's not, superhuman, but he's human. So to see him kind of like have that struggle and he comes back and he's all scraped up, beat up, all of that, it's just like, wow. Okay, so he can definitely be and in danger depending on what's going on and how concentrated the threat is. But even with how that character is put together, he's the kind of character where, I mean, it's cliche, but it's like women love him and men want to be him. And I think that's the thing that draws like men and women to this show. You have this character who's unapologetically male, unapologetically protective, will unapologetically kick somebody's ass, kill them if necessary to protect the people that he feels a bond to. And it's refreshing to see that go on. And it's just like, okay, it's great to actually be able to see a male character like that where they're not trying to like cut his balls off every single scene or have women talk down to him because you see how Roscoe kind of like talks to him when he tries to give her his jacket and instead of you don't have to do that and I'm a strong woman and don't need no man or whatever, she's kind of just like, You don't have to give me your jacket. Like, okay, you acknowledge that. It's like, yes, I acknowledge you're trying to be a gentleman, but I don't really need I don't really need your jacket. But she does it in a way that it's not insulting to
Mhm.
him. It's just like, I understand why you're doing it, but it's okay. It's okay. It kind of reminds me of hey, deleted scenes. How you doing? He says,
Hi.
avoiding spoilers, just stopping by to say
Thank
hello.
you
Oh, well,
so
thank you. Thank you
much.
so much for dropping in. Stuff so much for
Mhm.
all of you hanging out here watching
Yes.
with us and hearing us talk here. And I just almost completely forgot my what was I talking about last
You
week?
were talking about, oh, darn it. Shoot.
It'll come back to me in a minute.
Oh, it's killing me. Uh, we were talking
I
about
said she
how,
doesn't talk down to him.
oh, yes, yes,
Doing
about
good.
Roscoe, the way she treats Reacher and everyone else, and how she carries
Yeah,
herself as a strong woman.
yeah, yeah. She's a strong woman. She knows her strengths. She knows she's competent. She's not trying to outman Reacher. You
No,
know,
no, not at all.
she's really not. I mean, she knows pretty much how to handle him. She knows where her strengths are, and kind of keeps it like that when she has to assert things because she is the authority. Really, she really is. So that's why I know it's Reacher respects that, even though sometimes it's like, okay, forget it. I got to do my own thing. But he knows, okay, if I do my own thing, I'm never going to hear the end of it, from Roscoe. But it's just refreshing to see male female interactions without an agenda in there. It's just nice. It's just freaking refreshing, to see. And I think that's why so many people love this show because I keep people will keep asking. I think they did when we did the replay on YouTube. They're just like, Amazon did this and that craptastic, brings a power thing. And as you saw in the credits for folks who were watching the watch party with us, Paramount did this. Amazon
Oh.
just distributes it. So Amazon didn't create it. It wasn't an Amazon original from the ground up. It's just Paramount basically said, okay, instead of us, you know, distributing it ourselves or putting it on Paramount Plus, I don't know why, but I'm glad they didn't. It's on Amazon. So that's the reason why it looks as good as it does. But it's just good to watch this type of thing. Just be enraptured in how great the characters are. They're good things, they're bad things, their flaws, and wrapped up in a very, very good mystery, which goes back exactly to what you were saying. What is going on in Margrave? I That seems to be the question every single episode. Is just like what, and you know what? And you tell me if you feel this way too. You want to know what's going on.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot at stake, doesn't it?
A lot, a lot. And it's like I have to, it's like you want to find out what's going on because you feel the peril level. When we ended in the first episode, it was like, okay, Reacher, he needs to find out who killed his brother. By the end of the second episode, you see that a town basically plunged into terror with all of this going on. So now the first episode, it seemed just personal to Reacher. Now we're kind of stepping into that role of what would it feel like to you if you lived in a small town and all of a sudden bodies started dropping, and not just like that, some kind of cartel violence going on. That's something that you can relate to. And why it's so hard when it's just like, is that where you're going to leave us?
It was quite a moment to stop the program. I was just wondering why then, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's like it makes sense. If I was cutting the episodes, you want to leave your audience with, with more. And it's not like CSI where everything wraps up in the last 10 minutes and you're kind of like done, because one builds on the other, builds on the other, builds on the other. They have to keep you coming back. It's almost like those old serials that used to be in syndication, where the hero is like in some kind of perilous situation, says, "Tune in next week." It's like, same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right. That's right. And, they just, it just really is, after seeing the second episode, now the desire to see even more episodes just seems to be building in greater intensity. And I really like that.
I know. It's just like, I can't wait. And since Amazon dropped all of these,
Yes.
literally, it's just like, I'm just going to sit on a couch and not move for about the next 6 hours. It's just like, you have to know what happens. It's like, you got to know. And doesn't it feel good as, as a viewer, that it's like, it's something that I just can't wait to find out what happens.
Absolutely. There's so much substance to these episodes, Lorraine. I don't feel like, the movie isn't the story isn't progressing along. It does feel like a movie. Each episode feels like a movie. I don't feel like the story isn't progressing along. And there's so much in the episode that, it has so much weight to it that, it
Mhm.
is really fantastic entertainment, and there's something in it for everybody. It's really a great show so far. After watching episode 2 with you, I can't recommend it to people enough.
I know. I'm so glad, first of all, that you turned me onto it, and then it's amazing seeing how many people are finding out about it. They're like, "Oh my god, this is freaking amazing." I haven't heard a bad thing, about this at all. So, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait, but you know what? We're giving you all a little bonus, because next Tuesday at 5 p.m., we're actually going to be episode 3,
All
watch
right.
party. We are putting the pedal to the metal
Mhm,
with this. So thank you, all of you, so much for hanging out with us here for this watch party for episode
mhm.
2 of Reacher,
Yes.
the first dance.
Good.
So first of all, subscribe to both and myself on here on Twitch and also on YouTube as well. Get ready, because next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, we are going to check out episode 3. So, with that said, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for co hosting with me.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And thank you guys out there for watching. We so do appreciate this. If you're watching a replay of this, thank you so much for checking out the replay. We so do appreciate it. So, with that said, folks, take care. I'll see you next time. And what is going on in Margrave?